I guess what's really grinding my gears at the moment is this jumping on the bandwagon. On the day of the farmers' protest, we had Tory MPs turn up in person wearing wellies and wax jackets. We had Nigel Farage in a tractor, and of course, multimillionaires like Jeremy Clarkson attacked the Labour government over this change to inheritance tax. However, the worst is the sudden concern for farmers, farming, and the countryside by Tory MPs. The same Tory MPs who pushed through Brexit, who still defend it. The same Tory MPs who backed the pumping of raw sewage into rivers and lakes. The same Tory MPs who told farmers that they would provide them support, but then, in the case of Therese Coffey, just abandoned them. And then we had this from Victoria Atkins.
If we care about our countryside, if we want to hand on a countryside and an environment that is better for our children than that which we inherited, then we have to recognise that farming needs support, because, as any farmer will tell you, farmers can be asset rich but cash poor. I've been meeting farmers over the last couple of weeks since this budget of broken promises. And by the way, it's not just the inheritance tax through which the Labour government is attacking family farming. There are two other broken promises as well, including delinking of the payments made to farmers, which will see some tenant farmers next year simply unable to pay their rent. And also, of course, the hike in national insurance for employers. Again, very difficult for businesses on the small margins that farms operate on. But when you speak to farmers, they're not in it for the money. My goodness me, you'll see for yourself today how hard our farmers work. It is a 365-day responsibility. And one of the greatest strengths, I think, of British farming is that we have nurtured tax policy so as to protect the family farm and enable, for example, tenant farmers to continue farming their families. The shame of this budget is that this Labour government doesn't get it. They don't seem to understand the impacts that this policy will have on British farming. And my worry is that this Labour government is setting the sun on family farming across the United Kingdom.
What an absolute charlatan. These people have no shame. They're jumping on this bandwagon because they're attempting to try and take pot shots at the government. When they were in charge, they implemented a Brexit. When farmers asked for support after Brexit, they were abandoned. They were told, don't worry, we will support you. We will provide you with financial support. And they received nothing, or pretty much nothing. They were in a battle with the supermarkets. They had hoped that the government would side with them. The government sided with the supermarkets. When it came to raw sewage being pumped into rivers and lakes, MP after Tory MP backed this. Now, on the other side, where were the protests over Brexit? I saw 3 or 4 tractors drive through a village in front of a Tory MP's office on a Saturday afternoon. That's all I saw when it came to protests over Brexit. Where were the protests? Where was the dumping of manure outside Nigel Farage's house, or Jacob Rees-Mogg's house, or Boris Johnson's house? Where were the protests over the siding with the supermarkets? Where were the protests over the pumping of raw sewage into rivers and lakes? Where were the protests over the lack of support that the Tories had promised they would deliver but did not? Where were those protests? Suddenly, all of a sudden, the farmers are angry. And who are they siding with? They're siding with the Conservative Party, who threw them under a bus or a tractor, or whatever phrase you want to use, when they were in power. The Conservatives did not give a flying F about you. And now you're marching with them against the new government. I'm sorry. I think, we try to have sympathy for people who have been conned, people who have been tricked, people who have been, thrown under a bus. But when you march with these charlatans, when you allow someone like Nigel Farage into your frigging tractor for a photo opportunity, then sorry, you deserve what you're getting. Now, of course, it won't be the small farmers who will be affected by this. This is all driven to protect the rich. Once again, like Brexit. You have rich people like Jeremy Clarkson, James Dyson, using poor farmers as pawns to convince the government not to increase inheritance tax or to make these changes to inheritance tax. It's pathetic. It's beyond pathetic. Do these people have functioning brains? You're being conned by the same people who sold you Brexit. You're being conned by the Conservative Party, using you once again. They never gave a crap about you, and they never will give a crap about you. It's frustrating. The response from the government needs to be more about, well, look, these people sold you Brexit and you're having to pay all these extra costs because of Brexit. Where were your protests then? Why are you protesting now? I know the government won't do that, but somebody from the government should be put out onto the media to challenge this narrative, to ask these questions. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.